Behind the humor and odd scientific illusions of The Big Bang Theory, most viewers are unaware of a wealth of intriguing and often scary behind-the-scenes secrets. The behind-the-scenes narrative of hidden relationships, intense cast rivalries, shocking guest star requests, and last-minute script revisions is as captivating as the program. The startling departure of a beloved cast member and the actual on-set dynamics that molded the legendary series have been disclosed by ex-crew members. Hidden mysteries, surprising facts, and unseen tales provide a fresh perspective on the program you thought you knew. Whether you're a diehard or casual watcher, these insights will affect your opinion of The Big Bang Theory forever. Explore the secret realities of this breakthrough comedy and be astonished by what transpired behind those apartment walls and lab doors. Mayim Bialik had to hide a significant injury while working on The Big Bang Theory. Even though Amy Farrah Fowler was not one of the original cast members of The Big Bang Theory, it didn't take long for her to establish herself as a fan favorite. In fact, she immediately became a fan favorite. Unfortunately, things were not always simple for the scientist and actress, as Mayim Bialik, the celebrity behind the role, suffered a rather severe injury behind the scenes. This made things more difficult for the actress and scientist. It was discovered that Mayim had been involved in a vehicle accident, which resulted in her left hand being shredded. Ultimately, the authors were faced with two options. They could either include it in the program or choose to disregard the issue. On the whole, they went with the second option. The creators used several inventive camera angles and props to ensure that Mayim's bandaged hand was not even visible to the audience. Kaley Cuoco almost lost her leg while filming the show. When the unexpected occurred in 2010, Kaley Cuoco enthusiastically participated in another horseback riding session. As the actress fell to the ground, the horse abruptly tossed her down, but that was only the beginning. Kaley was allegedly landed on her leg by the horse, which had previously attempted to leap her. As if all of that weren't enough, the doctors initially believed that they'd have to amputate a portion of Kaley's leg because of the injuries. They were able to salvage the limb, and they utilized metal rods to maintain everything in position while the star was healing. This was an incredible achievement. Even though Kaley was absent from a few episodes throughout the season, she eventually returned and managed to conceal her leg by hiding under furniture. In one particular episode, Penny even decides to work as a bartender at the Cheesecake Factory so that she can continue to work behind the bar. Johnny Galecki and Sarah Gilbert had already worked together. During their careers, it's not uncommon for television stars to collaborate occasionally, particularly when they remain in the same line of work. In this particular instance, Sarah Gilbert and Johnny Galecki were involved. Leslie Winkle, the sarcastic experimental psychiatrist who has a connection with a few of the boys during the episode, was brought to life by Sarah, who played the role of Leslie Winkle. Who's Johnny? The one behind Leonard Hofstadter himself. When the actors were working on the Roseanne sitcom, they played each other's love interest for some time. This is something that they recreated during their time on Big Bang Theory. To add insult to injury, it appears that Sarah and Johnny took their relationship away from the cameras and dated for a brief period before they went their separate ways. Sarah Gilbert asked for Johnny's permission before she came out. Sarah Gilbert realized that she was a member of the LGBTQ community, which was one of the solid reasons why Johnny and Sarah Gilbert chose to call it quits and end their relationship. Afterwards, the actress disclosed to The Talk that the pair would make out on set in between scenes, but she often had feelings of depression and was not aware of what was causing her to feel this way. It would seem that Johnny was also mindful that something was wrong, and at that point, she decided to expose the truth. Not only was Johnny there to support his buddy, but he also assisted Sarah in breaking the news to the rest of the globe in 2010. This is a fortunate circumstance. Sarah's honest enough to reveal that before going public with the narrative of their relationship, she spoke with her friend to get permission to do so. Two of the Big Bang Theory stars secretly dated for 2 years. Over the years, several fans discovered that they were very hooked on the romance between Penny and Leonard. You may not be aware of this, but did you know that love isn't only for the cameras? Everything ended well in the end. On the other hand, most of us would have been unaware of the situation since Kaley Cuoco and Johnny Galecki chose to keep the information to themselves. When the pair finally broke up in 2010, the actress began talking about all that had happened. During an interview with CBS Watch, Kaley said that she and her boyfriend could not accomplish anything since they always tried to conceal their connection. The actress often pondered why she decided to reject the guy she was meant to love. According to Johnny, who was just as secretive as he claims, discussing their connection would conflict with people's acceptance of their personas. Kaley Cuoco's marriage lasted less than a few seasons on the show. When the actress Kaley Cuoco announced in September 2013 that she was engaged to tennis player Ryan Sweeting, her fans were in for a pleasant surprise. It was revealed that the pair had only been dating for 3 months and that they'd only finally disclosed their relationship to the general public a few days before the announcement of their engagement. The couple swiftly tied the knot on New Year's Eve of the same year before Kaley transformed the date into a tattoo. The wedding took place as fast as possible. After making their engagement public for 2 years, the pair ultimately ended their relationship and filed for divorce. Ultimately, their relationship did not endure. It was reported by People magazine that Kaley had to pay legal expenses and a total of $330,000, although she was granted permission to retain their home and beach property. Big Bang Theory actress didn't initially live with her current husband. There is a mysterious connection between Kaley Cuoco and unconventional weddings, which goes hand in hand. When she announced that she would marry her equestrian spouse, Carl Cook, a few years later, it seemed as if everything would turn out well for the star of The Big Bang Theory. When they walk down the aisle, many couples are forced to learn how to give up some aspects of their independence throughout their marriage. This is not Carl and Kaley. Oh no! The pair resided in different homes for over 2 years after marriage until they finally found themselves living together in the same house. Just like Kaley explained to E, there was a reason. The news was that they were constructing the home of their dreams. It was an unorthodox way of doing things, but it seemed successful for the two of them. The show faced a copyright infringement lawsuit over the song Soft Kitty. The long-running comedy series The Big Bang Theory has produced a great deal of humor throughout the years. Even though it provided the characters on the show with a great deal of solace, the song Soft Kitty was an example of one of the most popular and humorous songs. However, it also caused a great deal of difficulties for the program. Both Margaret Chase Perry and Ellen Newland Chase assert that their mother, Edith Newland, was the one who indeed penned the song. They say it was included in a collection of songs for children to sing in nursery school, but the show grabbed the melody. After their mother died, Margaret and Ellen became the original owners of the song's rights. They attempted to bring a lawsuit for violation of copyright, but the judge dismissed the case and said that all that was utilized was done by the statute of limitations. Someone else tried to sue the show over the theme song. It may be hard to believe, but Soft Kitty is not the first song that's gotten The Big Bang Theory into trouble from a musical standpoint. At a certain point, the theme music was also responsible for that outrage. Because producer Bill Prady and creator Chuck Lor saw the band doing a freestyle about the beginnings of the world at one of their gigs, the Bare Naked Ladies decided to record the song. Instantaneously, they needed to utilize something for the concert and requested that the leader, Ed Robertson, compose a song for them. Also, a member of the band, Stephen Page, quit in 2009 after playing with them. A few years later, he attempted to file a lawsuit against the band because Stephen said that he was entitled to 20% of the income from the song, but he thought that Ed was the only one succeeding. Someone plagiarized the show, and the new cast had no idea. It's very uncommon for somebody to take a well-known program and attempt to transform it into something that they can use for their benefit. This was the situation with The Big Bang Theory. Even though none of the actors on the new program were aware of the reality of the situation, in 2010, Chuck Lor, the creator of the original Chuck Lor, became aware of the theorists. It was in Belarus that the series was shown, as it turned out. The plot of 4 scientists living next to a waitress was repeated, and the characters' names were almost identical to those in the original. That each episode was nothing more than a Russian translation was shown to be the case. Even though Chuck was probably a bit irritated, he knew there was no case since the government controlled the production firm in Belarus. The celebrities all resigned when they discovered the truth, to our great relief. The original pilot of The Big Bang Theory was a lot darker. Before a program is developed into a pilot, it goes through the process of having a concept. There was no exception made by The Big Bang Theory. The pilot episode, on the other hand, was much darker than the contemporary lads that we know and love today. Then, Leonard and Sheldon were the only characters considered to be permanent. The fact that Sheldon was fascinated with ladies in the pilot is another way that he was extremely different from the geeky character who loved science. There was no consideration given to Penny since the character of the girl in the series was going to be a girl named Katie. As a character, she's cynical and spends all her time drinking and living with the boys after ending her relationship with her married partner. The initial characters were not to CBS's liking, so they decided not to produce the program. Jim Parsons had yet to learn who Chuck Lor was or why he mattered. Chuck Lor is a famous writer who's brought to life several popular television shows and movies throughout his career, including Dharma and Greg, Grace Under Fire, and 2.5 Men. Even though Jim Parsons had been in the acting business for close to 10 years before being cast in the role of Sheldon Cooper, he needed to be made aware of Chuck Lor. He was under the impression that he was working for Chuck Woolery, the well-known presenter of game shows. It would seem that Jim's agency phoned the actor and informed him that he got a role in the pilot deal. Despite this, he couldn't see why everyone was so enthusiastic about the new program. Jim even told David Letterman that he believed everyone needed to take a deep breath and wait to see what Chuck Woolery had to give before they were too enthusiastic. The actor has never seen an episode of Doctor Who or Star Trek. The love that Sheldon Cooper has for the science fiction franchises Star Trek and Doctor Who is one of the many things discussed throughout The Big Bang Theory. These two franchises are two of the things that Sheldon Cooper considers to be his absolute favorites in the entire world. They've served as the foundation for several storylines, such as when they became stranded on their way to a Star Trek convention and Sheldon's relationship with Will Wheaton. Even though Jim can bring Sheldon to life, this does not imply that he's entirely knowledgeable about the character. After some time had passed, the actor said that he'd never seen a single episode of either program. He stated that he would rather watch the drama series Grey's Anatomy, the comedy Three's Company, or the reality competition show American Idol. Some have accused Sheldon Cooper of mocking people with Asperger syndrome. The conduct of Sheldon and the reasons behind why he interacts with his pals in the manner he does have been at the core of numerous hypotheses for a long time. Sheldon may suffer from Asperger syndrome, which is one of the countless possibilities that seems to be credible. It's often linked to an inability to comprehend emotional and social concerns, difficulty communicating non-verbally, and the tendency to engage in improper social relationships. Some have questioned whether this is being shown tastefully or if the program is an attempt to make fun of the condition. This is even though this might be an explanation for the character's conduct. Chuck Lor asserts that Sheldon is never intended to be on the autistic spectrum, and he argues that the authors crafted mannerisms that were deemed suitable for the character. Nevertheless, Jim Parsons acknowledged that Sheldon does exhibit a few characteristics. The Big Bang Theory regulars couldn't get their side project. As a result of having 12 seasons, The Big Bang Theory has introduced many supporting characters during its run. Some of them are only on the exhibit briefly, while others have established themselves as a permanent fixture on the display. Two of the characters on the list are Stuart Bloom, who's portrayed by Kevin Sussman, and Barry Kripke, who John Ross Bowie portrays. The two actors were relatively close to one another while working together on The Big Bang, to the point that they decided to start their side project. Dark Minions was a project that Kevin and John worked on in 2011. The program was meant to chronicle the life of an eccentric 5-year-old and her hip parents. Kevin and John worked on the project in 2011. The Ever After part was canceled not once, but twice, after it had just been on the air for a single season. A Big Bang Theory guest regretted carving his path in life. The addition of using written characters for the program The Big Bang Theory also included several well-known actors and actresses, including Wil Wheaton at various points during the series. His role as teenage Ensign Wesley Crusher in the science fiction series Star Trek: The Next Generation brought him widespread recognition. When Will is introduced to The Big Bang Theory, he plays a character who reflects himself and later becomes one of Sheldon's circle of pals. On the other hand, Will decided to leave the Star Trek franchise in 1990 when he was only 18 years old. Even though the actor made a few cameo appearances, Will claims he was so intent on forging his path that he kept his distance from many of his former co-stars for several years. As a result, Will was reportedly ashamed at the conclusion. There was a reason we never saw Haley Walsh on the show. Bernadette and Howard Wolowitz were getting ready to bring their daughter, Haley Walsh, into the world during the 10th season of the sitcom, when things took a significant turn for the better. It was the first time that any of the core group had become parents, and it seemed that Haley would play an essential role in the narrative in the future. Why did we never get to see the baby when we were on set? Before someone went to soothe the little child, we only heard Haley cry or make a noise while her parents were in another room. It was for two different reasons. One of the reasons was that the producers were aware that working with a newborn may involve some difficulties. And another, I want to pay tribute to Carol Ann Susie, who portrayed the role of Howard's mother for several years until she left. Haley devised a riddle to pay homage to the fact that Carol was never seen. The pay was a considerable sticking point in The Big Bang Theory. One item that's been a source of contention for the whole of The Big Bang Theory is the remuneration of the actors. A wage increase was something that Johnny Galecki, Jim Parsons, and Kaley Cuoco wanted in 2013, which resulted in a delay in the production of the program. Instantly, their income increased from $350,000 each episode to $1 million per episode. Unfortunately, Nunal Nayar and Simon Helberg were the last to finish their contracts. They were informed that they could increase their pay from $100,000 to $750,000 each episode, or they'd be removed from the program. The situation was altered once again in 2017 when the 5 stars agreed to accept a salary decrease of a staggering $100,000 to guarantee that Mayim Bialik and Melissa Rauch would get a compensation increase. As a result, their income increased from $200,000 to $425,000. Bill Prady was left to make all the awkward phone calls. Do you ever find yourself wondering how the program was able to get the participation of so many guest stars throughout its history? Many celebrities were more than glad to donate their skills to the series, which is fortunate circumstance given the nature of the series. On the other hand, it was more complicated to explain the narratives. Bill Prady, the executive producer, said to Wil Wheaton that he needed to portray a role that reflected himself at the time. Bill was also the one who was responsible for contacting George Takei to inquire about whether or not he'd be willing to participate in a lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer scene in the program. During the conversation, Bill said that he began by inquiring about George's awareness of his sexual orientation, to which the actor responded, "That's news, I'll tell my husband." Melissa Rauch almost landed the show in a lot of hot water. There were many peculiar things without even being aware of us doing them. Getting beneath the blankets and attempting to warm up her hands is what Melissa Rauch, the actress who plays Bernadette, sees as the most effective method. To combat the fact that she's always chilly, the actress told Conan O'Brien that she pulls the covers up to her head and rubs her hands together very rapidly. Before Melissa did it on the program set, however, that was perfectly acceptable. Melissa did what she normally does out of habit as she was working opposite Mayim Bialik on a scene being filmed in a hotel room. The actress claims that the producers had to urge Melissa to shoot the scene with her hands in the frame since it seemed as if you were having way too much fun. Several people accused Mayim Bialik of blaming the victims in the Me Too movement. The Me Too movement caught the attention of people around the globe, and it caused Hollywood to go off the rails. A number of celebrities came out to share their own experiences or show their support to those individuals who dared to come forward. In response to a request from the New York Times, Mayim Bialik was asked to write an article in which she discussed her experience as a woman who works in the entertainment industry. Regrettably, Mayim's expectations were not met by the reaction it received. The star of The Big Bang Theory wrote about how she began to make choices that were self-protecting and wise, such as learning to dress modestly and refraining from behaving flirtatiously with men. The article quickly spread throughout social media, and many people accused Mayim of blaming the victims. On social media, the actress issued a prompt apology for the comments she had made. The Big Bang Theory stars had a lot of issues with their costumes. To be a part of a prominent television program such as The Big Bang Theory, the main characters often have to get used to the idea that they may step into the role at any moment throughout the show. Thanks to the costumes that were utilized in the performance, everyone was able to feel like they were playing the role. These ensembles were not always simple to pull together, as seen by the belt buckles worn by Howard, the assortment of t-shirts Sheldon wore, and everything in between. Rather than wearing his bulky sweaters and long sleeves, Kunal Nair, also known as Raj Koothrappali, has said he always desired to wear Kaley's attire. Simon Helberg also noted that one of the most unpleasant aspects of wearing Howard's famed belt buckles was that his trousers were so tight that they would dig into his slacks anytime he sat down. Several storylines on The Big Bang Theory are based on actual events. Most of the tales that were utilized in the program seem to be somewhat bizarre. It appears as if even the characters had far greater personalities than many of us could have imagined. Would you think that a significant number of the plots and characters were based on actual events that had a place in the world? That's correct. Producer Bill Prady modeled Howard Wolowitz after an old coworker with the same name. Bill even said that Sheldon Cooper was constructed from a group of individuals who collaborated while working programmers. Even the authors drew inspiration from their own lives when it came to the tales, mainly regarding the difficulties the characters had in their relationships. As far as Jeremy Howe is concerned, the fact that Penny cannot recall Leonard's birthday is entirely attributed to the point when his wife had the same problems. The writer's strike had a significant influence on The Big Bang Theory. It's possible that the Writers Guild of America was unaware of the magnitude of the impact that their strike in 2007 would have on the entertainment industry. As a result of labor disagreement between the Guild and the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, the strike lasted for 3 months until February 2008. When they went on strike, the writers of The Big Bang Theory had only produced 8 episodes of the show. Everyone almost played someone else on The Big Bang Theory. When it came to casting the characters, the most important thing was ensuring that Sheldon Cooper was portrayed in the best possible way. Even though Chuck Lor and Bill Prady were first pleased with Jim Parsons, they didn't believe he could pull it off. Johnny Galecki was later approached to play the role, but he was more interested in portraying Leonard. The pair finally requested him to take the position. "Could you let me know if you're keeping up?" The crew felt that Kevin Sussman, also known as Stuart Bloom, may have been a suitable replacement for Sheldon. However, he wasn't interested in playing the role. As a result of the actor's ability to bring Sheldon to life in ways that Chuck and Bill could have never imagined, Jim's audition was a massive success because of his performance. What's the most exciting part? The more time passed, the more impressive his performances were. There's a reason why you never see Howard and Raj's apartments in the same episode. Do you ever wonder how the crew managed to bring all the sets to life? Many techniques were employed during the process, such as using an identical set of stairs for each story of the apartment complex. The set crew had to alter the number of flats and any items between each take to give the impression that the group was moving down various floors. In addition, the fact that Howard and Raj's residences were constructed from the same set revealed another deception. However, even though many viewers were unaware of this fact for the whole of the first season of The Big Bang Theory, it's the reason why the two houses were never shown in the same episode. They only altered the decorations that were included in the backdrop. Every food item was genuine and eaten on The Big Bang Theory. If there's one thing that many of us remember about The Big Bang Theory, cast and crew have an extreme passion for food. Whenever they're not at the Cheesecake Factory, they often hang out at Leonard and Sheldon's apartment where they have a takeaway meal. There's a lot of programs that don't allow its actors to eat since it might disrupt the shooting process. As a result, they either use synthetic food or make them spit out each swallow after the shot. This was not the case in The Big Bang Theory. Here, the ensemble was able to take pleasure in every meal the character ordered. Kaley Cuoco said in an interview with USA Today that Scott London was responsible for all the props and built all the takeaway boxes. After that, he used his skills as a chef to prepare each unique meal placed inside each carton. Everyone who plays an instrument on the show can play it in real life, too. The fact that several of the characters on The Big Bang Theory have some latent musical abilities is revealed during the program, even if it may not have been a primary focus of the show. Howard plays the piano, Sheldon plays the theremin, Leonard plays the cello, Raj plays the guitar, and Amy plays the harp. Are you able to thrust that every actor can portray them in real life? Yes, Mayim Bialik did learn how to play the harp and perform the role. This was made more accessible because she played the trumpet, guitar, and piano proficiently. In addition to being a skilled pianist, Simon Helberg has years of experience under his belt buckle. Theremin is often considered to be the instrument that's most difficult to play, yet even Jim Parsons was willing to put in the effort to learn how to play it. Kevin Sussman had to face his darkest fears to film The Big Bang Theory. In the world of sitcoms, there's something about hot tubs that cannot be ignored. Both Bernadette and Howard are fortunate enough to have a child of their own with them. Despite this, things do not remain the same when the couple leaves town for a few days, enabling Stuart and Raj to break into their house to enjoy it for themselves. The request made by Kevin Sussman was, regrettably, rather a significant one. It was discovered that the actor had a substantial phobia of water. It might have been more beneficial to exclude the scene in which Stuart is seen lurking beneath the water from the presentation. Kevin subsequently said at San Diego Comic-Con that the situation was horrifying and disgusting, since a group of people had to coach me. Kevin said this when he was asked about it. If you've watched the video till here, that means you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the notifications bell icon